Bam, bam, bam. He or she said, cancel this damn show. They hate it. What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Make black hair great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, woo.
We're coming. Get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
Well, I think it was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed your birthday. It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What? About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips. Let me do your hair. Hey, what's happening, Blacks? How are you guys doing out there? Y'all know who it is, right? It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo, coming to you live and direct from chill Cleveland, Ohio, where I was just informed there will be a blizzard just in time for 2025. So with that being said, there she is. Y'all know right there. Look at my finger right there. It's Cheryl Morrow, aka the Hair Oracle. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. How's it doing in Southern California?
It's gorgeous. What else can I say?
Look at that sun. Look at that sun shining back there. That's just so.
Okay, so we do have
so what?
It's 61.
It's 61. I'm gonna pack my bag because I think there's a room back there. What do you got? Do you guys think I can get back there in that room? I'm almost certain. I bet it's a couch. Scoot over. I could probably sleep in a chair or something like that. I mean, hey, it's sunny California. It's cold Cleveland. Pick your climate wherever you want to do. Cheryl and I, we got you, especially now that this is our last episode of 2024. And I think we are going out with a pop. All right. Topic. We are 139 episodes in the year of 2024. And the last one is all about trustworthy social media content. And we thought, we do a series to get everybody ready for 2025 because I don't know about you, Cheryl, but I'm thinking now more than ever, people are going to be running to social media. Have you heard? I don't know. Let me know, guys. What's up? LB says she'll be right back. So what's up, everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and as well as Instagram? How's the Instagram family doing? But have you heard the rumor that I think it's like Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow, like they're taking a pay cut because their viewings are down. So people basically are not going to be watching the media anymore. They're going to be looking at you and me. So maybe we'll get 2 more viewers. Speaking of 2 more, hit the thumbs up button if you've been rocking it out with us. Or maybe you're new. You just say, hold on, wait a minute. Who are these 2 ladies here? We're Cheryl Morrow and Ladosha Wright, and you have just scrolled into the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. This is a podcast that gets pure and unadulterated, truly, about the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. So Cheryl, have you heard that? Have you heard that in your neck of the woods?
I think it's people are just so over kind of the election. They're just trying to brace themselves.
But do you think it really is influencing how people watch TV? Or do you think?
Absolutely. Everybody's a little probably numbed out. I think they're watching more podcasts of people who are much more tied into. I know that I subscribe to some channels that they are now, and they were invited to the White House. And
who? Wait a minute. Who was invited to that steak house? You mean some podcasters were invited?
Yeah. Biden invited them all in and told them to, hey, good luck. I know you're gonna have a lot of content for the next 3 years.
All right, now hold on. Now, is it just me? Now, my best friend, as you all know, is Kevin Chill Herb. What's up, Arnold? How you doing? The incomparable party maker of Cleveland, Arnold Hines. I hope you have some I can attend. Any hoot. Now, Kevin is my best friend, and he's also a journalist. So, are we really going to be turning to podcasters as opposed to or compared to actual journalists? Or because you own a newspaper, you're editor in chief. So, what does that mean for people who have legitimate careers in journalism? And then you have people like, I am not a journalist. I know I look like one. Hey, Sandra. Like, Dosha's got the journalistic look. Not really, because my hair. Anywho. So come on, Cheryl. Kick the ballistics. What's up? So I don't know. I miss Walter Cronkite. You know.
I think they're just a victim of the corporate media head, that people are just really, that we've been oversaturated, just this summer with the election and everything. So they're really
we need journalism, because people could be like, this is why we did a 5-part series, that intelligence ain't artificial, right?
Yeah.
This last one is about trustworthy content, on social media. Though we're going to be specifically focusing on hair, we still need to help people, understand, like, what is the difference between a journalist and a podcaster? Maybe you can help us with that.
I think it's how they get their information. We talk about things, and we just have a little more lucid with our opinions. When you're working for corporate like MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, it just seems to be quite scripted. This is unscripted, right? I don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what I'm going to say. But most of those corporate types of journalistic
because
media,
they don't have all day, right? They are getting sponsorship.
And they do investigative reporting.
Right. I was getting ready.
That content does not do. You know what I mean?
All right, we got some folk in the chat. Everybody on all gears are starting to turn here. So what do you guys think? I'm watching. I like the news. I don't watch TV, but I do lean towards the news when it comes, because it's kind of like this. Now, y'all just let me know, what do you guys think? Watching like a podcaster versus a trained, educated, person who's getting really good sources and, verified sources, all this other good stuff with some sponsorship, so we can know where to get our mattresses and, the sales from TJ Maxx, all that other good stuff, and of course, some medicine and how it's going to affect you. All the side effects, you like none like them commercials. But I like credible, good, journalism, right?
Yeah.
And to me, watching a podcaster is like, anybody go to church, and I've been to some of these new school churches, and I'm gonna go, right, Cheryl? And the pastor be like, how many of y'all body for the Lord? How many of y'all got the name, for Mary Wright? I don't want my pastor rapping with a jogging. I want my pastor, male or female, with a suit, dignified, really good language. And, I'm not saying they can't say this and that, but anybody feeling me? So that's what I think when I think of just the masses of people turning away from journalism and turning to influencers or podcasters, whatever you're going to call these people, for actual news. And we've got to help people out with
Yeah.
how to decipher, what's credible, what's not credible, because I mean, I'm not
And
trying to be all lottie-dottie about the news. I'm not saying,
all podcasters are quite journalistic, and they do in their investigation, they do their research.
I know I do mine.
Right. But we're a lot more lucid with the what we talk about. And I don't know what the difference is with, with journalism versus content creation. It's,
Well, you have a newspaper.
yeah.
So do you just want
do content.
anybody? Do you want
I do content. I do not like our youngsters and young journalists. I don't like them repurposing.
What does that mean?
It's almost like we have news wires and everything is in the wire, right?
Okay.
Then you can choose and pick and cherry pick what you want to write about. And you can do your own take on it, which is fine. But I would like them to think more and be more original in there. You can pick what event happened, but get original and be original with it. And so that's one of
now we're getting here. We're moving on in 139 episodes. And Cheryl is just hitting the nail on the head without even, remember, this is not scripted, okay? We do have a de facto producer. Her name is Esther T. Jones. And then we have Lawana and we have Wike that helps, us with the chat and everything. But this is truly pure and unadulterated, right? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, that credible, like you said, you don't want them just out there willy-nilly, like, just go through the wire and pick, and then let's go.
Yeah, and then of course you start going around and then everybody's repurposed the same
story. Right. Okay. So how would you suggest people right now? They're going to be going to social media and they're going to be looking for both hair and, just in general, how would they know credible? How would they know? And I have a video and I do have the extended version of it. It's about 2 minutes. But anyhow, I took 1 minute of it. If you want to hear the whole thing, I did download it. But it's about credibility because we got to start off with that,
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start off.
That's the baseline.
So we're going to do this in 2 ways, guys. What's up, Yate? We're going to do this in 2 ways. So one, we want you to help everybody, understand or have a baseline for credibility. Because I think when people think credible, maybe it's popularity. Now, of course, I am not trying to insinuate you guys don't know, but some people are so foxy out here. That's number one. And then number two, what about being able to like Google people? What are your thoughts about being able to Google? Like I can Google you and know that like you're the real deal. So is that a way? So let's talk about that. So number one, let's help everybody out when we're talking about trustworthy social media.
In 2025, you want to be, but see, here's one problem with all of this is that you have something called an algorithm. And according to your search, you guys will search something, right? And then all of a sudden, that very thing pops up and it's following you all of a sudden. It knows that you searched for a vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
All of a sudden, no matter what you're doing on your phone, all of a sudden an ad will come up. Okay. It's called cookies. Okay. And so you have an algorithm. So whatever you want to find, whatever your belief system, whatever your value system is, right? That algorithm, I will be able to open up your YouTube and everything that you think or what you have looked at, whatever you can find, whatever piece of information that you believe in. your thought process, it begins to follow you. Here's the thing, that if you want to break that algorithm, okay, because most of that stuff is not basically about what you're talking about, credibility. You always should listen to, and this is what I do. I try to listen to whatever expert, researcher, influencer, ambassador, content creator, or journalist, right? When they mention names of where their sources are, go follow those sources.
Oh, did
Always,
you guys get that? Let me put that in the, go ahead, sure. I'm sorry.
right. And so let's say I like intellectuals. Okay. I am what we call, I am true Aquarian. I love that. I'm a sapiosexual, right? I love people, smart people, and who can really have what we call original thoughts. Maybe not. And so when I hear them and they cite a source, I follow that source because they themselves, and even if I like them, there's something in their conversation, in the information that they are giving you, they'll mention someone, and then I'll go and find that. And also, we talk about it all the time because we talk about it at the Afro Hair Science Summit, and we do it in cosmetology, we do it in Black hair care, we do it in textured hair care. And so we have to make sure that even the sources of where we're getting information, we follow them. And I try to do that most times.
Okay. Now let me just play devil's advocate. Okay. What's up, Sandra? All right. We got our chat monitor is in the house, our virtual co-host. Right. Sandra E is in the chat. Everybody big up Sandra E. I see you, Michelle Allen. So what's happening again? LB, is so nice to have you in the chat, being the hostess with the mostest. And of course, Selena AG, we're going to rock you out with a night. Oh, someone just crept in. Susan. How you doing, Susan? I like that little avatar. How you doing? Okay.
Great.
I know, she's just so cute. Hey, Sue. Everybody, hold on. We ain't gonna short you out with that hand clap. Hold on now. We gotta give our cousin Susan, because she just crept in on us. Nice. We're gonna give Susan a nice hand clap. Welcome into the dumbest that people say about black hair. And tonight we're doing Cheryl's getting us all geared up with credible content. So now that you're saying, one way, all right, here's just now, we're going to give several, but for right now, Cheryl is saying it is imperative that you follow the resources when the person or the speaker gives you a book or another person or a location, please, because that's going to kind of give that person more credibility. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the person who says, I am the resource, I'm the source? Mm-hmm. So what about those people that says, I can't, it's just me. This is mine. Look at this. This is my banana.
Right.
You're not going to find this knowledge no place else. Because now here's what I just found out. There's this, that Tariq Nasheed started the FBA, which is a spinoff from the ADOS. And so I was in the chat because anybody here ever heard of FBA? By the way, has anybody on all platforms, have you ever heard of FBA? Sure, have you ever heard of FBA?
I have only ADOS.
Okay.
And I don't follow.
I don't either, but I was in the chat. I was, over on the pseudo killers,
No doubt.
So let me know, have you heard of FBA? So FBA, there was a person that, because I went in the chat and I said, for those of us who are new to this discussion, what is FBA? So, of course, no one was dropping that in the chat. So, I went and I Googled it and I got the answer. So I was like, well, according to Google, this is what FBA is. And I'm just wondering, like, the source. So the person in the chat was like, I am the source. So this is new. And so nobody dropped in the chat to say if they knew what FBA is.
I don't
wait for some. I'll give you the answer. But what about people who say, I am the source, when you're asking people to listen for other sources and resources from people that they are getting quote unquote credible information from. Is there a danger to a person who says,
I don't
I
know.
am the source?
I don't know if it's a danger, because I have been one of those people at some point, but I have authored many theses and papers and things of that nature. However, but when I have said that, I have, what I am saying is not original. And there was a conversation that I had in a health food store, legendary health food store in Harlem on 125th Street, called Solar Gardens. The owner was Paco Bina, right? And I remember going in and telling Paco Bina what I needed and what I wanted, right? And I was explaining it. And there was an older gentleman that would sit on the side, and he said to me, "You sound like Malcolm X." And he said, "There's a tradition." And attorney Alton Maddox, Baba Alton Maddox, and Dick Gregory would talk about this. You can tell someone if they could, or do they sound, or do they remind you of someone? Are they saying something that is akin or germane to something that has already happened, or something that is already has existed, right? And so that has to be your guide, because I guarantee you, and I don't know what FBA is, and if it's akin to ADOS, I'm sure it's not original. They may be saying something, the information may be slightly different, or it may cater to some other points, but it's usually not original. But and you have to use your discernment, especially when they start explaining it. Are they mentioning other pieces of research written on that particular subject? Because I don't think the subject is original most times. But if I talk about Afro Hair Science, well, that's not original. My dad talked about it. So I'm repeating it. I may have different twist on it, but most times it's not original.
But you do have a source, your dad. So
Yeah.
even though Afro Hair Science in the world of barbering and cosmetology, and of course, Miladies in Texas, and so all the people, because that's where all of the stuff is written. Excuse me. A lot of our books and stuff are coming out of Texas, but you still have a source. Like we can still trace that back, right? I'm talking about
sure, right, and I'm sure most of that information, it could be similar to a W.B. Du Bois. It could be Booker T. Washington. It could be, you know what I mean? So it's similar. And
all right.
if you hear some of those similarities, you could probably
Okay, I
because
got you.
it doesn't sound like Yvette Carnell, who is one of the founders of ADOS. But
So GG_GG2 is correct. It stands for Foundational Black American. And so both are kind of leaning towards people who are descendants of actual slaves here in America, right? So I'm not quite, don't quote me on what the twist is, but our point is that when we're talking about trustworthy social media content, whether you're talking about hair or any other information, as we proceed into the next, 3 to 4 years, and we now are starting to hear that people are really not going to be watching the news as much. Cheryl has recommended to all of us one of the best ways to assure that you're not falling down the rabbit hole is listen for the resources that the people are sharing when they're talking. That could be a book. That could be another person, like she said. It could also be a location. You want to look for that. And also, if the person is an original, like Cheryl says with Afro Hair Science, even like ADOS, you can still hear in their conversations about ADOS or FBA. There should be some referencing to what's inspiring their school of thought. as opposed to people who just really make stuff up. And this is really, really important because it affects people's lives. Number one, you guys have heard me say over and over again, my son lost his life, literally lost his life to following people on social media. He had no person like a Cheryl Morrow. I didn't even believe in social media at that time. I was like,
Wow.
who in the hell is talking to a damn computer? I mean, I just was like, that is the stupidest thing ever, which is not a good thing when a person, because my son was almost like he was like in a cult. He had been indoctrinated. So for me to even make that comment, that put a bigger wall up against me and him and available medication for him to have his life. And so for me, this topic is a little bit different. And I know you guys are like, everybody don't die from that. Trust me, there are a lot of dead people in the world, not just my son, who fell victim to untrustworthy content because there was no Cheryl Morrow to tell my son, when you listen to these people, DeVere, you need to listen for a resource.
Yeah.
And a resource could be a book, it could be a person, it could be a place, and it should link back. And if the person is giving original content, like Afro Hair Science or whatever, there's so much stuff that's going to be new somehow, some way.
Absolutely.
They have to, they cannot be in a silos, doing this stuff by themselves because, of course, a life is the worst case scenario, but money, relationships, trust, all of this is going to be compromised if we just don't be careful. So to us, this has a different twist. And like I said, death is the worst case scenario. But Cheryl, talk about some other dangers of just not doing that follow through and just go a little bit further, guys, and dig a little bit deeper so you can have your own truth, even as you listen to us, because hell, y'all be checking us in the chat. Because and start off with that, Cheryl, that, and we talk about this on the phone, that there's kind of like an unspoken agreement. And I'm not saying with all Black people, but within certain sects of, the Black culture, that we can check each other. So start with that and then work your way back into just some of the dangers of not going a little bit further with those checking the resources.
One of the things that I want to just say first, all experts are not, just because they sound, as you would say, foxy, or they're giving you a piece of information that you've never heard before. That doesn't mean that they are an intellectual, and it doesn't mean that they're an expert. It just means that you did not hear it before. Now, when you come in contact with a piece of information, and let's just be honest, number one is nutrition, right? That's one of the vulnerabilities. It's a huge vulnerability.
And let me just squeeze in. She does it not. This is unscripted, and that was the contributing factor to my son's death. It was nutrition, that he was following some new people were saying, don't take medicine, do this nutrition thing. And okay, so that's a very good one. Yes.
Okay, because one of the things that when there is a time to go medical and a time to go nutritional, and I'm just using nutrition as an example.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that all nutritionists should be able to tell you when it's out of their pay grade and their jurisdiction. Okay. And they will hear and say, it is probably time to then intersect and deal with medical of the medical world. Because of course, good experts, and number one, experts do not have all the answers.
Oh, let me drop the bomb on that one right quick. Did y'all hear what she said? She said experts do not have all the answers.
That is one of the key clues to knowing you're listening to an expert, is that they will speak about empty pockets where there's no information. But one of the things that they do know is that they will be able to give you a process of elimination on where to find the answer. Okay. And they do a different process of thinking. And it's almost like experts will go all the way to the end of an issue and then work their way back to it. And and also there's another thing, another clue to experts. Okay. Experts rarely, because they don't have all the answers, experts will most likely not talk in sound bites.
For example,
Let's go racism, right?
Okay.
And they will probably talk about different, like one of the things that they'll say that Nelson Mandela was a great communicator, right? But he rarely will repeat something that somebody else repeated, that you've heard before, and they won't say it in terms of absolutes. Experts don't talk in absolutes because, of course, the gray area, and if they're an expert in race relations, let's say, race relations, because it's such a big subject, okay, and that's where you come into what we're really going to have to watch out for, especially if we're dealing with credible content. You're going to have to really get into really kind of determining if a person is an expert or what we call a pseudo-intellectual. Pseudo-intellectual has used different pockets of information that they've heard on social media, and then they'll wrap it up in a few, maybe a couple of statistics, and have not read the full study. Can't just read statistics. So if I say Black women voted overwhelmingly liberal and Black men did not, well, if it's the fact that Black men did 70 something percent, right? But at the end of the day, but as a whole, what does that mean? An expert will tell you what actually does that mean. But a person who wants to talk about just absolutes and just numbers and just sound bites, they're intellectual, pseudo-intellectual.
Wow. And so this is really getting everybody's attention. Excuse me. We appreciate you guys again. We are 139 episodes in, and we are wrapping up this year, 2024, with the fifth part of our series that intelligence is not artificial. And we're concluding as we talk about trustworthy social media content. And again, we're just helping you guys navigate. Now, of course, it is not nearly our business who you listen to or why. And of course, we most certainly can't tell you who to listen to, but we're really good here, on this platform because of our there she is. Here's our de facto producer. Let's give her a big, big round of applause. Now, I'm not saying that this is where she was going with this. Hold on. Let's give her a big round of applause. And thank you so much for being empathetic towards my son's untimely, departure. But, they say everything does happen for a reason. I'm stronger, so I can say that now. But what we want you guys to really understand when it comes to this credible content, and our goal is not, again, to tell you guys what to do, is that that shows that you got to make sure you have resources. The person is giving you resources. And it's because of Esther. And Esther actually made the recommendation to Cheryl and I right here on this platform by suggesting, hey guys, you guys are really, really good at what you're saying. You're giving really good content. But you know what would really make this really nice and good? How about you guys bring on other people? You see, so that's another example where I know my last name is Wright. It's really hard, you know what I'm saying? But again, we don't know everything, and we need to just kind of bounce things off of each other. So that's really, 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 really important. Now, let me show the clip because you talked about when people sound intelligent. So here's a clip of a young lady who does this type of what we're talking about now, vetting people for credibility, and this is her take about watching out for that foxy talk. All right, here it goes. I think this is the right one. Here it goes. Yeah.
Don't believe in the meritocracy. Everyone who is more senior, more highly paid, better educated is not necessarily smarter, more effective, a bigger producer, or a great leader. Let's face it, relationships, pedigree, and other things totally uncorrelated to one's success in the role often determine who gets in and who gets promoted. I've read that there's a 10% overlap between confidence and competence. The most outspoken and confident person is often the least competent, but we give them the benefit of the doubt because they meet our beliefs and our unconscious expectations of what good looks like. I think for me, the most pivotal moment when I realized.
All right. And that's pretty much what you just said to us. We do. If somebody looks the part, what's up, Mrs. Scott Holcomb over on Instagram? So nice to have you join us again. When people look a certain way and they have all these nice, credentials and they're very popular, man, they just look so credible. And they have all these degrees. Like I have now, of course, we're not saying that because people have those things, but unfortunate sometimes it is those people that don't always they're not either able to use the education to match the acumen that they're purporting to have, or like she said, in some instances you have some people that can, and then you have some people like me. I don't have all of that, but I'm pretty cool with where I'm at. So can you talk about those three dynamics of the educated fool, no disrespect, not disrespecting. Then, of course, the people who use that education under the guise of what I call responsible leadership, and then people like me, everyday home girl, like you, and we're just kicking the ballistics, giving it 100 as it relates to trustworthy social media content.
I think our education system sets us up for the package and people fitting into the package and people who are worthy of having a bigger say or the last say. And those are called professors, right? They're called teachers. And of course, class sets up what these people are supposed to look like, right? And, and if you have gotten a grade, right? And if you have got a GPA and the meritocracy is a problem because, of course, most of our presidents, we don't know their education status, right? We just assume because they're white males that they do know something, okay? And
They went to some school.
right. And they probably are not even the top. We know George W. Bush wasn't. And so these may not even be smart men. And so they're mediocre in the scheme of things because, of course, here we go, that we are living in an age where now all of a sudden money is attached to intelligence. And so now you have a big dummy and you have one of the smartest intellectual, or technological persons, Elon Musk. So now you have this whole dichotomy, but it is meritocracy that is the issue. But you also then may have the gender issue. Women.
Back up a little bit to meritocracy. I thought she was saying a merit, like Americatocracy, but she's saying merit. Okay. Is anybody in the chat familiar with meritocracy? meritocracy. Meritocracy.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not familiar with meritocracy? Esther, I know you are. Just go ahead on Esther right quick. And I'm sure
But let me
Fall Clues might be familiar with it too.
Yeah,
Based
we'll answer that his question or their question in a minute. But let me just say this: meritocracy is another hierarchy. It is to separate people according to their accomplishments. Accomplishments could be socioeconomic. So if you don't, like she said, if you don't look like it, if you didn't go to the best colleges or you didn't do this, you're assumed to not be the person that should be talking about that particular subject. But according to Black people, meritorious manumission, I think Dr. Claude Anderson talked about it a lot. In meritorious manumission, according to what you did for the plantation owner, you were able to get your freedom. Meritorious means achievement, right? Manumission means movement. Okay, so you can move up the ladder, so to speak. And that was designed for Black people. But anyway, and then of course you have the Dunning-Kruger effect that which is intellectual, pseudo-intellectualism. But how that happens to us in our, industry is that, of course, we had it in 1999, where the natural hair care assumed that we were bought in, like the journalism, corporate cosmetology, and we were bought into the system, and they were going to undo that. And then they knew more about natural hair. And because we were cosmetologists, we did not. And so that is where it kind of worked in reverse. We had the credentials, and we do know, and now we were credible, right? Had science backgrounds and had chemistry backgrounds, but it kind of worked against us in that regard. So it become tricky. But
now let's address is that fall cues. Where does relevance and remaining current fit in with experts? I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it seems like it's a fine line in the digital age, right? Because like that kind of goes back to what you were saying, why you don't want your people going through that news wire and then just, picking, and then we're all repeating the same story. Not to no disrespect to Jimmy Carter, who just passed away. So some people feel like he was the worst president, but he was the president.
It was quite fascinating.
Yeah.
President. And see, here we go again, an expert on the presidency. You will start getting other experts that you will not be able to, because people who will say that he was not a good president, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are not real researchers of the presidency, of his presidency, and they really don't know what that presidency was about and the things that he was able to get accomplished. And here, and so when you start hearing the same thing over and over and over, experts do not talk in sound bites. They just don't. And so how does relevance and how do you sustain that relevance? Experts are going to expand. And so they're always going to say, what most politicians will say, well, you were against it last year. Well, damn, that's because they gained more information. Don't you want them to say, oh, well, I didn't know that? Put it this way. And just to, in the name of Jimmy Carter, if Jimmy Carter had a second term, we would have had electric cars 20 years, 30 years before now.
Wow.
He was talking about electric cars and solar and climate change in his presidency. And he was very, very vocal about it, about America being responsible and making sacrifices to be more futuristic. That was the hallmark of his presidency.
Yeah, I thought he was trying to move us away from consumerism and to be more producers. Even as a kid, just kind of looking back, because he was a physicist, right? So he seemed to be more like
very smart man.
Yeah, like to me, and not as a kid, because I remember like some of the think about how during those presidencies, it feels like our education. So back in those and when I was like in the sixth grade, our schoolwork, our science. Remember those science kits and everything? It was different. Like even trying to move us from the English system to the metric system. It was just a lot of things that was happening that was really trying to push us to not be so consumer oriented. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. So that was a very powerful question of where does relevance and remaining current fit in when it comes to experts. And that is,
expansion. And if you are always expanding your thought process, you will stay current because the problems are not actually being solved. As you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. These are really good. Oh my gosh. This is a very powerful discussion. And again, in case you have just joined us, welcome to 139 episodes in as we talk about trustworthy on social media when it comes to this content. And of course, not just hair, but we got you guys going with about credibility. Now, the second part of that question was, what about when you Google people? So I work in a hair salon. I'm also the owner of a hair salon, and I am here to tell you the power of being Googled. Ooh, how many people use Google for, hotels, restaurants, vacation destinations and people. So is that good, bad? What do you think about people being able to Google the expert or the resource to make sure that it's legit? What's your take on Google me?
Yeah. And you can Bing people. You can do, you don't necessarily
Yahoo. Yeah, you can Yahoo, and there's so many search engines.
Right. But to be searchable, because you will not see me talking about cars. You're not going to see me talking about nothing but what I'm talking to you about now. And you're going to see me and you're going to see what we call a pedigree or a lineage. So my life is a passport. I have been in those particular spaces and you can track them. And so I know you were in social services even before being in Haircare. So there is a track record of you being and saying the very same thing year in, year out. Maybe and once again, it has expanded. Okay. But you're still in your core message, your core passion, and your core subject matters that you talk about within your industry. And so when that is why Googling a person, you start seeing, oh, okay, they was talking about that in 1997. Okay, they were doing this, and and it's a trajectory that's supposed to tell a story. And it's supposed to make sense. So if I was talking about salad dressing, y'all, and I was doing,
Yeah, because so for example, it would be hard to Google Cheryl Morrow and not see Ladosha Wright. I mean, you would just kind of wonder, like, I don't know about those two, because I don't want people to think that Googling a person or a business is the it's the big to do, but there is something to be said, because what does happen, and you guys please answer in the chat, when a person tells you about a person, place, or thing, do you Google them? And I will admit, I was anti Googling. My son was like, you must have these customers write a Google review. And I was like, excuse the expression, bullshit. I like the yellow pages. Okay, say something, Esther. Y'all go ahead. Come on, Mrs. Scott Holcomb. Come on, everybody on, Instagram and LinkedIn. I still had the yellow pages. And my son was like, really? He was so angry. Like he didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. But I did not believe in Google. So if you look at the reviews, my son said our salon is number 1 in pretty much the state of Ohio.
Mhm.
But when you look at them, you will see that those reviews are very recent because I just did not believe in Google reviews or Googling people. So talk about that when we talk about trustworthy a little bit more for people who maybe are like me that are watching YouTube like, I don't Google things either. So
Well, and now once soon as
or
you
Bing,
put in, and I think that there's a couple of Cheryl Morrows that are a doctor. So you actually have to put in hair care after my name, right? And so, but you'll get a LinkedIn, you'll get this and that and this and that. You know what I mean? You'll get a Facebook, you'll get their Instagram handles, you'll get all their handles. But there will be certain content and people have written about you and there's a book and let's just say you go on LinkedIn and I say, I was born in Kansas and y'all know damn well I was born in San Diego. You know what I mean? And so people's resumes are on the internet.
now I'm going to do what Cheryl said. Okay, let me just show you guys why we're just going to show you in real time, why this is important. I don't want you guys to think it's just, just a Cheryl and Dosha thing. Like we said, we're giving you guys the sources. Yeah, don't laugh at me, Gigi. I mean, please don't, because we're talking about 10 years. I still the yellow. My son's like, this is a true story. But anywho, so here it is. Like we said, it's going to be hard to look up Cheryl and not see Ladosha. There she is, all on YouTube. It's starting off. She's the heir. This is the same thing that you hear over and over. She's the heiress to California Curl Empire. She's a cosmetic trichologist. She's the editor-in-chief of the SD Monitor News, and then it goes on and on and on. And we're talking about if you click the first page, the second page, you're going to get, Cheryl Morrow. And then, like you said, then you'll start to see other people with the name. Even Ladosha. I am not the only Ladosha. You know what I'm saying? So, so this is, like you said, a resume, and I think it's like a bona fides. It makes you legit, that you're connected to the people that. So if we talk about Rev Air, right?
Yes.
You should see Rev Air talk about us too. If I say I'm a Famisi certified master colorist, then Famisi should be liking some of my images, some of the instructors and people.
That's right.
So it should be some type of a back and forth, guys. If you don't see that, we're saying watch out and do a little bit more of your own stuff so you don't waste your money. Is that correct, Cheryl?
Absolutely. And one thing I would like to add, y'all be a little more snooty and snobbish with y'all followership. Don't be following everybody just because you feel sorry for them or they look cute or they one little thing. Be a little more selective with your follow. Don't just follow anybody. You know what I mean? Because they're going to start getting in your feed. And then you're going to be just clicking. Okay. And then there goes the bait. There goes the bait.
Now, remember, now 2024, we did a book list, okay, which we're gonna I'm gonna make sure we post that book list when we come back in. So if you missed it, you will have a list every month. We did a book. So
Yes.
this year, I mean, in 2025, these are the people that we follow on social media. And you guys could do that too, so that we all can be in this together, because now is the time for us to be responsible with the content that we're consuming and sharing, especially if you're a new grandma like me. And also, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, GG too. I still fresh up out the yellow page. I got some. I will pull one up and show
What?
y'all.
Come on now. Let it
Sorry,
go.
y'all.
Let it go.
Because I didn't know. I did not. I just couldn't fathom that people would do this, but people are doing this because I'm a skeptic. Okay, I don't trust nothing or nobody. So I was like, I'm still you. Myself was like, man, I don't nobody. They don't even print the yellow pages anymore. I was like,
Bag lady. You gonna miss
okay.
us.
Okay, I'm just telling the truth. That's my truth. All right. So there you have it. All right. So
Go,
so
let it
here are some more. So let's start off with some more content
Okay.
that was credible in 2024, and we really want to know, will this be
Relevant.
credible in 2025? All right. Let's see. All right, quick. Esther says she don't like the new AI. She was looking up an actress on Google, and it told me she was born in 91 and that she was 40. It's fixed now, but she can't really trust it. See, I'm kind of like Esther, but anywho, that's just how that goes. All right. Okay. So here we go.
But they do give you the option of reading the top one, and you can scroll down and read the other stuff.
All right. Okay. All right. So make sure you. So hold up. Gigi says she's had people Google your name before. You started a work assignment which you didn't like. People Google me all the time. That's why I say you can find everything about me on when you Google me except my baby daddy. That's true. Okay. All right. So is this going to happen? It was trending forever and ever and ever. We're talking about 24 years of nonstop. I want to know, will this remain a credible thing? I actually got some here. Hold on, guys. Wait a minute. Hair typing.
Oh God.
Will this remain a credible way to understand textured hair in 2025? Will this ever go away? And is it credible?
I think it's here for about another year.
Okay. How many people in the chat gives hair typing one more year before it goes bye? All right. Let's see what the chat say. Come on Instagram, come on LinkedIn, come on YouTube, come on Facebook. Even if you're watching this post live, have fun with us, get interactive, okay? And do you think typing this, and what type of hair would this be if you still believe in this? So this is some hair that I collected. All right. So you think it's and why do you think it's going to expire in 2025? Like she said that is on its way out. Okay.
The reason why I think that it's going to become unimportant, because the reason why we need to define it is because novice brand owners, or the very fact that there is a technological drought in terms of innovation, new product design, or whatever the case may be. It's because the level of what is being produced is still relying on it. And I believe that product development, the research and development part of the products that we're going to see in the near future that's not going to be relevant. They're not going to be using hair typing as a foundational basis for creating new technology. That's my take on it. And you muted? You get a phone call? You're muted.
Sorry. Okay, there it is. Sorry. Okay, my son was like at this thing. I was like, Mom, what do you want to buy? He's like, what you want? I'm like, I didn't want to turn that opportunity down, guys. Sorry.
You got that
Okay.
right.
I know that's right. Okay. So now here we have it where you're saying, let me go back to the topic here, which was, where were we at, Cheryl? I'm so sorry, guys.
No worries. We were saying, then I was just giving you some credence to why I feel that hair typing may be here for maybe another year, but for the reason why that will not, it's because the industry in and of itself and the innovation will not use it as a basis.
All right. So if you concur, which it seems like the chat does, they're kind of saying that it doesn't. They think it's going to go out, but we do have a question for you. But before we answer that question, our virtual co-host says now is really, really a good time because you guys are really enjoying. This is our last live for 2024 under the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. So help us go out with a bang and do this right now.
Pampa me on, pampa me on.
All right, so thank you so much.
Pampa me on.
Sorry, guys. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. But we do have a question here. Okay, we got two. Hold on, not sure they got loose. Hold on, Trish. Let me get you.
Y'all.
All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. So the first one says, have we explored other systems like the LOIS? That's lowest system. So let me look. Are you familiar with that system, Cheryl?
I am not. I'm sure once I know it, but no, I'm not.
Okay, hold on. Let's look up lowest system. And then Cheryl is going to talk about, hold on. Let me just broaden it out right quick. Hold on. Thank you so much, Fall, for that, Fall Curious, for that question. And then Cheryl, you're going to take it away about what do you think about another hair typing system and what could be credible. So here we go, guys. Hair typing may be on its way out. The chat believes it's going to be out. But the lowest system so far is saying there are multiple matches. But anywho, the lowest is a hair typing system that uses letters like LOIS, and those letters represents the type of hair. For example, L with an angle is with no curves. O stands for curls. I means the texture is straight, and S means the texture is wavy. That's very cockamamie, but I'm sorry. Sure, that's deep. I think I talk a little bit about this in the book, but it was hard for me to catch this one. But anyhow, Cheryl, take it away. What you say?
So here's a good example of the pseudo intellectualism. This is a very good way to define it. Now, we are coming up with another hair typing instead of addressing the fact that we don't understand texture. So we don't have different types of human beings, right? And so hair being a type in and of itself, we don't deal with that. We just come up with another one, as if the hair that has sharp angles but no bends, but then O curls, and then I, for straight, and then S for wave. Just the fact that we will just not let go of the need to differentiate. But if we are going to get more knowledgeable, why don't we just get more knowledgeable instead of having? It's almost like saying, it's almost like having, even though you need definitions of words, but why do we need to have classifications of humans?
Okay, we don't. All right, so let me just kind of squeeze in a little bit here. Now, remember, you were saying that it's just, this here is like toting a fine line of pseudo intellectualism, and I am the source. Okay. Yes. So maybe this person, because
Yeah.
I don't see the source, is saying there are multiple matches. So can you kind of use this as an example of how you can't get the source,
Mhm.
to make this something that's credible? Because remember you said this should you should look for these indicators.
Yes.
Um, and so because we can't seem to trace this back to what science they use to come up with this. But this person who created it, of course, is going to say, what? I am the source. Though, as a cosmetologist, something about hair with sharp angles and bends and a little or no curves that would never jive in my world of professional uh, cosmetology, nor my education um, as a cosmetologist. So I would challenge that.
It does say the creator, and it's to the
Oh,
this
okay.
her
Oh,
name
duh.
is, yeah, and she is a colleague of Andre Walker.
Oh,
And her name is Latoya Ebony. So
oh,
it's
okay. Yeah, it's
okay. So
called Read, guys.
right, and and so once again, here we go. That it's a piece of information that is not original. It's just switching letters. It takes the it takes the letter away from it takes the number away from the letter. And now we just have letters, right? And so now we have categories. So now we don't have a spectrum. The
Well, where do you? I'm sorry for cutting you up, but what would make you say something like L hair with sharp angles and bends and little or no curves? Like, what hair is that? I mean, I'm not trying to be dumb.
no, because it is a commercial categorizing. It's
Ah.
not scientific.
Now,
And
so
one,
are you kind of saying that some of this is always going to lead back to getting people out of their money, or maybe not always, or is it money slash ego, or
well,
maybe?
I think Fall Cues has it. It is a way to stay relevant just by changing
Ah.
the dress of the same bullshit. You just changed it, but now it is attached to her. So now she's the new Andre Walker because the hair typing system it's overplayed. It's so secular now and doesn't really actually mean something, and it's so consumer. And then now everybody has followed everybody into the cave with it, right? And so now she wants to be relevant, okay, and current and staying current. Now she's the current flavor of the month, and so she now came up with Lois. Okay.
Okay, so some wanted me. Okay, here you go. Trish said, click that because we want to see that Lois just a little bit bigger. I'm gonna see if I can get
And you
a
guys can click
actual.
it. Right. You guys can click
Okay,
it
so here. Okay, so
or look
here
at
it
it on
goes. Okay, so here you go. Okay, thank you, Trish. I keep telling y'all. Oh, but this is how we do this here. Let me present, and she says, give us an image. Because I'm like, what the French toast and bologna sandwich is an L-shaped hair. So here we go, guys. Thank you so much, Trish. There it is. So L, that don't look like no damn L. O, that don't look like no O. I guess if you stand on top, I guess. Okay, that's a no-brainer. S,
Mhm. And see,
um,
and now with her categorizing, okay, has the kink as number one. So the kink is first now. The O is second, and now the straight hair is third, and now what we call S pattern. Okay. Now, S pattern scientifically, as we know that, it's akin to cysteine, right? But here we go again. This is commercial. This is just to put her into a category of, I guess you can say that she wants to be an expert, and so to speak. But we all know as professionals, there is no difference between wave, a kink, and coil. All of those are just secular terms. We don't basically use them in the salon. We don't use them in the professional world. We just call them that just to give it a visual when we're describing something to one person, to the next person, or whatever the case may be. But they're not scientific. And so as we go beyond and try to be expansive in our world and to give, clients, the consumers, real good scientific stuff, especially if we're going to try to get this into the political realm of dealing with things in better education systems and curriculums. Once again, this is just, and at the experts, she's gonna mention Andre Walker, and usually most people now you know her source. She's part of that family.
Right. So if you were to truly do your, like Cheryl said, check the scoreboard, check the resource, and you would go back to Andre Walker, you would find where he readily, openly admits that he did create that, per what Cheryl just said, to help in the selling of the product. There is no science in this at all. So so there you have it. Okay. We have one more, and I think I
and the shade. Read that one that's on there now.
Which one? Oh, okay. Okay. Rather than the shape, the focus could be the texture, i.e., thready, cottony, wiry, coarse, spongy.
Absolutely, but then you would have to get into fibers and fiber science at that point. They're not these hairstylists that we are talking about, as in Ebony and Andre. They're not trying to do that. They are.
Right.
You have to remember, it all comes down to one thing. People don't think hair is a science.
Yeah.
They think
because, and let me just help you out too, Fall Cues. You see an intermingling of words like wiry, coarse, spongy. So in the professional world, hair types have strengths like fine, medium, coarse. So coarse in the world of cosmetology is a strength. It's how many layers that makes that hair strong. So coarse would be more like an Asian hair because it has like a myriad of cuticle layers where that hair is so poker straight, it would never snap. Whereas wiry is a propensity to snap. Now, if you use coarse in layman's term, it could be interchangeably where the hair could feel. But again, in Afro Hair Science, we learn so much about the dangers and the trickery of how something feels to your fingers and the actual anatomical feature of the hair. So again, this would be challenged by a myriad of true experts.
Right.
Yeah, so this would not hold up. But if you wanted to sell something, this is going to work because, like Cheryl says, sometimes you need language to be called, user friendly. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Cheryl.
All right. Let's just say you have Lois, and then you have hair typing, and then you have the Andre Walker, the hair typing. And let's just say you want to say thready. Let's say you want to say cottony. Let's say you just want to go away from the pattern of what it optically looks like, and then you want to go how it interacts with chemistry. Timing plays a factor with when we're talking about texture. So if Ladosha just told you, so let's say if I have a course, so my timing and processing is going to be different according to what texture I have, right? But at that point, texture has never been the way something looks. Texture is about absorption or porosity. Has nothing to do with the way it looks. But because we're following straight hair standard of beauty, which is the epicenter of basically what we scientifically know about hair, then that is why we're going to get these very low level kind of understandings of things. And then we start doing hair patterns.
And this is why, African centric teaching is really, really important, especially if you're going to work in the hair industry. That's why I'm a strong, proponent of the House Bill 414 here in the state of Ohio, is so that we can give this science, this hair science, a lot more attention and all of this good stuff that we're talking about, because it's in its time, what white people were doing with cosmetology, it served its purpose. But as you can tell by this conversation and the comments in the chat, it is time to move the needle. And this is what former, may he rest in peace, Jimmy Carter was trying to do with, cars and, all this other stuff. So we're trying to do the same thing when it comes to hair, so that we can stop some of this. Like we said, for selling things, it's going to be okay. But if you're a master trichologist or a master stylist or a master colorist, and all of your education, the foundation is in a Eurocentric standard, you're just going to be you're regurgitating the same thing. You just sound a little bit more foxier. If you're taught from an African centric position, which is really more towards that history and science, you're going to have a higher thought processes in your approach.
That absolutely.
To how you approach the hair. And we see it. And I'm not saying a person who has that a level of education is not earning as much as me, won't yield the same results, and so on and so forth. However, when you come to these types of conversations and moving the needle beyond that surface, so that we can really do some dynamic things in our industry, I'm going to be able to help move our industry further, as opposed to that person who's staying status quo. So when Trish, you say, I do not think it will go away, I think it's used to differentiate the tightness of the strand, or just come up with other terms or words to differentiate the tightness, of the curl. And again, that's just one dimension of that conversation. And that's where they got a lot of people trapped, is that's all,
Well, here's a better question as we talk about the credibleness of content. The question is, for 2025, why do we need to differentiate it? And once we understand why we actually need to differentiate it, why do we need to differentiate it? And once you get, let's say, well, because it always is going to lead to the retail aisle and not back to the science and the chemistry of the salon.
And the reason why that is so important, guys, is this platform. It's the dumbest shit that people say, because we cannot tell you the massive amount of consumers who remain even more confused. They still cannot solve. They're still spending exorbitant amount of money and time on hair that they really don't even have to. It's because of the trap of that need to do exactly what we see that's happening in the chat. When you use science, it's very liberating. When you use history, it's very freeing, and it moves that space open to new avenues and new heights, because we're just stuck, down here. So one would argue, Lois, helps with eliminating the discrimination with hair typing, as I indicate superiority, and the systems is more inclusive, and some can have multiple letters.
Okay, but here's the thing. So let's say that would be let's go to race. Let's go to skin color. Okay. Now, we already know that carbon, and we'll say the secular word melanin or melatonin, right? We all know that that is actually in the cell. It is so important of what happens to you at night in your complexion, and what makes a person darker, and it's not, it can go down a rabbit hole with that. However, if we understood the importance of melanin, right? But instead of focusing on melanin, we went to dividing and classifying and differentiating people who had more of it and people who had less of it. And the people who had less of it took the number one focus, and now the whole health system is around. My point is that we are not differentiating texture because we are trying to understand it. We're trying to differentiate it so we can get it into the commercial market and be able to take advantage of what it means to have several different products for all these other different patterns, knowing good goddamn well, if you guys say, if it's all keratin, okay, instead of letting the industry define it, instead of random hairstylists, because we are trying to make it akin to this cream and that shampoo and this oil, where it keeps getting caught up into, you're still going to start buying several different products, trying to deal with, and it's just going to start now, and you're going to find number one on a bottle, number two on a bottle, and you're going to think it's made just for you. And you're going to get caught up in the same cycle because we're not being scientific about it. Because at the end of the day, product in a bottle does not know what race or texture you are. Product doesn't.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So we know we are not actually, and if we can just say, you know what, God damn it, we need to study that nappy area because it's most dominant. Instead of just saying that, and we need to start and then if it applies to that one, maybe it'll apply to all the other variations.
Right, because to Cheryl's point, guys, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't mean to be insulting. So if we do, just hit us upside the head, drop them in the chat and chew us up, because this is what this content is all about. Trustworthy social media. So at the end of the day, if it was really about this lowest thing could eliminate discrimination and hair typing, it would be inclusive, then it would just boils down to one thing. Soap is soap is soap. And it's going to clean all of the fibers, no matter what color. Listen here, we're not going to deny that there was a time when soap really meant it was going to wash away the blackness. Ivory soap, we've given you a source, Imperial Leather. Did we not give you guys that source?
Oh man,
we said, we begged everybody in the chat. We said, please, if there is one book that you must read, it would be Imperial Leather. So if you were to read Imperial Leather, then you would really begin to understand that this whole Lois and all this other stuff of trying to eliminate is still backing you into an imperialistic school of thought. Because
I've never read the sub title under there. Race and gender and sexuality in the colonial contest. She called it a contest. That is like really profound, because at the end of the day, we are in a hair typing contest.
Mm-hmm.
Who can say it the best? Who can define it the best?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm asking Black people, why are we still needing to differentiate it?
Because there's so much, there's so much more available to us as humans, because they're definitely being out fall cues that the whole race thing, they just said, okay, it's pseudo, so they done with that. But we know for political reasons it's going to stick around, but scientific is going to be kicked out. So the lowest scale is going to get kicked. It's going to get thrown, because when humans come to the hair salon, I promise you, and Cheryl and any other cosmetologist, please, Yate, please verify this with me. They do not want to be classified. They want their hair to be, my hair is Cheryl's hair. Do not confuse me with Kilolo. So it won't work. It sounds good, but we're just helping you guys to understand trustworthy social media content as it refers to the dumbest shit
And
that people say about black hair.
So people can to really understand what I'm saying. Let me ask you a question. When we talk about light, we know there's different types of various of light waves, but we only call it light. But there is a spectrum of light. We don't take out infrared and ultraviolet and white light. We don't make them different, but they're all light. And we have to get to make sure that one thing that they just don't want to do, if we were to make texture a spectrum, which means variations instead of one separate patterns, guess what we would have to be forced to scientifically study the hair of Afrocentric people, because that is the number one spectrum. It is the only hair, and then there's only variations of a dominant source. And so we can't scientifically get there. Plus, we in scared white folks, they don't want to study it because they scared they're going to do something to it. And, they know how we are about our hair. We as especially, and that's why I love chemical engineers in HBCUs and in college and women and young men, so we can scientifically get there and put hair in, like, we don't separate cotton from linen, but they're fibers, but they're just fabric. But we don't do texture like that. We just always have to classify it in there you go. That's what I'm talking.
I got you, bro. I got you. So this is gonna help you guys, just kind of make it make sense. If we did hair on the spectrum like we did color, it would because when you look at the color spectrum, we don't care if you're using paint or hair, color laws are universal. One, it's not dominant, it's not better, it's not black pride, it's not dominant, it's not those. But I mean in the terms of over another person or another,
dominant only means that every other subsequent color comes from it.
Right. Yeah. So not dominant as in we're better. No. So it's just showing you in scientific terms, again, that out of one comes what? All of these other colors.
Right. That's what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, it's almost like sometimes, nature just programs genes to create curly hair more likely in genes. That's what physicists and geneticists say dominant. That's all it means.
And it's because you can get more variations out of
one, right?
From that one. So I hope. So this is why the lowest scale and the racism, it just won't. It will become. As a matter of fact, if you use it, you're actually going to back yourself back into racism. But because again, when a person comes to the hair salon and they want hair color, they don't want me to classify and type that hair. They want me to use the science. Why? Because if that hair is red, right? And I want it to be brown, they want me to use what? Green. They don't want me to go to we got this new system called 4C red. No, ninja. You better use the red. Are you guys working with us? So credibility, trustworthy.
And science takes the most likely outcome according to the natural science of how it interacts with the elements. Science just says the 7 times out of 10 is what will be the standard, not the exceptions. Doesn't take the minority, it takes the majority. Of science deals with the most likeliness of how that natural element is going to work.
Because remember, she said
Colors have got to do the science. They cannot be talking about these outliers and these maybes. It has to go science.
Right. Okay. All right. I think we're doing good here. Okay. We got one more, and then we're just going to be done with this. This pot. You guys are just sure they are really feeling this topic tonight. We do have our virtual co-host that's in the chat is saying, everyone, please, by all means, if you can hit that thumbs up button, now would be a good time, because it is clear that you guys are truly, truly enjoying this content. What's up, Linda? How you doing over there? Congratulations. Speaking of sharing good content, please make sure you go over to Instagram and check out Linda Cowan. She has a wonderful special that's going to be coming on the ID channel of her surviving domestic violence. It's a great. I'm going to be watching it. Also, I am CFT. What's up? What's up? Gambia is in the chat, and then Love 3 Lessons, Mrs. Scott Holcomb, and then everybody else. We truly appreciate you. So we have one more that we're going to finish this up. So here's the second one. Is the whole let me get this strand of hair. Oh, let me just I got one. Here it is. I know. It was going out as it caused a tiff between me and my sister. Okay.
Really?
This last one, will this go away?
God.
This was, I Googled this. This was by far the most trending and the most credible topic in hair was porosity. So you have the porosity test of putting the hair in the water. I ain't gonna wet my computer up, but y'all know what's happening there. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's the hair floating in. Well, there it is. It's gonna float. Okay, it ain't gonna sink. It's gonna float. Y'all can see it. Okay. All right. So is this credible? And do you think it's gonna go away in 2025? Why is porosity so important, and what is up with this science? They say this is science here.
Okay. So if anyone can tell me, it will let them answer it. Why is porosity so important?
All right, here we go. Respect your crown, real roots, Miss Esther, Trish the Natural. Come on in. Also, Sandra, live, work, clean. Come on in, Canada. We appreciate you. LB, Michelle Allen, Fall Q's, Gigi. Come on, Gigi. We know y'all still rocking it out with us. Why porosity? I wish I should call my sister right now and say, get in the chat. Why is it so important? Selena AG, what's happening, boo? If you're still rocking it out with us, why is this so important? Why is porosity? It is the thing. All right, so we got a response. Porosity is important. Okay, get some cocoa. Okay. Madam Flair. Ooh, I love that name. Good Lord, A. Nico. You got Savoir Faire, the cat, and then you have Madam Flair. Come on through, y'all coming good. Woo, they coming in, Cheryl.
They're coming. All right.
You're making us go out with 2024 with a bang, okay? And this doubles into deep conditioner. That was the second one.
Okay. So
we're and deep conditioner and porosity together. So why does it matter? Jesus Christ, we got 1,000. Woo, y'all on fire. Let me just drop the bomb for the chat, because y'all is not playing with us tonight. Y'all like, come on, Cheryl. Come on.
Come on with the come on.
They said come on with the come on and get down with the get down. Here, y'all. Enough from Dr. Ma. I know she's like, don't get off my tip. All right, big round of applause. light on God's brown and green and all the wonderful colors on the earth is porosity important. So I'm gonna work my way from the bottom up.
Okay.
So my understanding is it's important because it determines how your hair absorbs moisture. Good
Okay.
answer. Here we go again. Water absorption. Here we go again. Porosity describes the health of the hair fibers, coloring and relaxing. The hair relies on porosity. Fall cues is like, I'm ready for you. I ain't scared of you. I feel you, Fall. Come on, girl. Porosity is important if you're trying to color or recolor. Oh, I like the French color your hair.
Color.
Porosity determines how your hair holds moisture. Here it is again, how the hair absorbs water and hair products going back to deep conditioners. Porosity is important for the chemically processed hair only. Okay. She also says when it comes to that float test, by the way, her hair always floats, and it's only because she has fine strands. Ooh, okay, sure. We might just move it to the 2 hour. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to get you out here. It's not gonna happen. They want it. They here for it. They like, bring it, Cheryl. Come on, drop them bombs in the chat. They said this. Hold on, wait a minute, Cheryl. They here for it. Cheryl already know what I'm getting ready to do. I wish my brother was here. He said this, y'all. Here you go. Y'all ready?
Stop. Hammer time.
I ain't messing with y'all. I'm not about to.
Okay.
Cheryl.
Well, and live, work, clean. I think has heard us talk about this before. Anyway,
And now we're talking about this from a credible.
Yeah.
So we have to circle back because it is winding down.
Now, and let me just say this, and I don't know how many of them are hairstylists. Okay, right. We do know that. And let me ask you a question: do you remember being taught porosity in beauty school?
Yeah, you go get your book, girl. I love this. Please, y'all stick with us in 2025.
Yeah, we got it for you. Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, so Lolo, did you learn porosity in beauty school?
I did learn porosity in beauty
and
school.
Where did that fit in?
It only applied if you were relaxing using ammonium thioglycolate, a cold wave perm. You had to lift color because deposit only, they didn't mess with it in deposit. And removing. So if it was not a chemical, it was not even open. It didn't even come into discussion until the hair was, but that was during the process, not once it's done.
Okay, so all natural hair textured people, please listen to me. Please listen to me and Kilo. Okay. All we're saying is that porosity for natural hair or chemically untreated hair, non-chemically treated hair, no chemically treated hair, virgin hair, untouched hair, unbothered hair, whatever you guys want to call it, there is no such thing as porosity that applies to you guys at all. Now, the hair floats on the water because hair is a protein called
keratin,
and it is
hydrophobic,
fibrous, which means that all proteins are hydrophobic. There is no water in hair. Okay? It repels. It is like your skin. It repels. Okay? Hair does not have a suck you bus. It can't do that. So it doesn't have a natural process. The reason why cosmetology was so important that we at least joined from 1999 and joined the natural hair care movement, because we could have saved you guys so much time. And that was unfortunately intellectual pseudo. That was pseudo intellectualism. You have to denature a protein in order for it to have a porosity at that point, which means
at that point.
now let me make it right. So if I have a wood, but if I shellac it, okay, and I cover it, or I have a cement, a rock that is just natural, it doesn't have any way for it to be permeable. So there's no way for any water. You have to make rock or cement permeable in order for it to be absorbable. But it doesn't have a natural permeable ratio at that time unless you denature it or make it enable to some water to permeate it. It just doesn't have that. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So porosity, yes, does help you determine timing, processing time, the amount of product to put on or not to put on, strength. It does do that, but it is only when you are texture enhancing it at that point, which is a process of denaturing it. And denature does not necessarily have to be bad. It means that you can enhance it, make it more flexuous, make it shinier, make it something, and you're just changing the state. You're not taking away its naturalness because you can't make it unkeratin. You can't do that. The point is that is hopefully I have explained it in 2024 before we get the hell out of 2024. So we won't go into 2025 talking about porosity.
Yeah, it's not going. So now remember the other thing she's saying, guys, this is during the chemical service. So right. I got some of my hair in a comb, all right? And I'm going to show y'all, like she said, I'm going to put it in the, it's still going to float. Okay. Right. The chemical service is over. There it is. It's in the water. If I
get in color,
it's been colored. I got highlighted hair in there.
Right.
And as y'all can see, the hair is still, it's up top. It's not at the bottom. So the porosity will only apply while you are doing the chemical service.
Right.
Once the service is over, because it's still a protein, the conversation is done. So if your hair is going to fall out because you put too much lightener or whatever you want to call it, it's going to happen when you put it on your hair. Because when it's done, it's going to come off right there on the spot. Not 5 weeks later, not 20 hours later, right there on the spot. Now,
so
you can go home and start tugging on it and pulling it, and that will pull it out. But when people say, I put the relaxer or the color in my hair and the next week my hair fell out, well, you did something when you got home, because that's going to happen right there on the spot. So what about that absorption? So if we took that, let's take this hair back out the water because it's just sitting up. It's sitting up top here. There it is, guys. There it is. Okay. There's that hair. Okay. It's starting to curl up. There's the 4C. It's just trying to come back to Africa, y'all. Okay. Because I don't have a chemical in my hair. So as you can see, it's going to try to curl up here. So what if I took this conditioner and put it on that hair, right? Is that conditioner going to go?
You have to remember, hair does not think. It has an instinct, which means it is environmental It's reacting environmentally.
Y'all see this hair reacting to the environment?
So in the H2O, okay, the hydrogen atom with the 2 oxygen, it's triggering what we call a genetic memory.
You see it? There's it. It's in real time, y'all.
Right. It's remembering that it's curly because the curly is the birth information. That's the birth information. So it's and it's kind of the reason why science is so fascinating with Black people's hair is because Black people's hair will change once it gets the H2O trigger.
You see that?
It doesn't even have to be in the follicle to still remember that it is curly. Okay.
Right.
So when people talk about what's dead and alive, it kind of, you got to have science to kind of talk to you about it, because if it's dead, then it wouldn't react. It wouldn't go back. It wouldn't get curly. It wouldn't do it.
So stop coming to us with, oh, my hair is dead. I always say the only hair is dead is if your ass is dead. Please stop saying that.
I don't even know if it's dead even then.
Even then.
Right.
Okay.
Because hair can still grow.
Yeah. Okay. So there it is. So there's the hair responding to the climate, as she said. But now, is this conditioner going deep? Let me put it back on there. I'm put it on there. Now, this is chemically treated hair. This is the blonde. Okay. I know you can't tell, but it's the blonde hair. I picked the most damaged hair because y'all swept down blonde. So it didn't sink. But if I put this conditioner on it, okay, a little. What's up, Sir Pool? It keeps curling back up. Okay, so
because hair is an environmental reaction, so it cannot decipher the cream versus water. All it knows is that it's wetness, and so the fiber. It's the same with your cotton shirt. Your cotton shirt does not know you put in woolite, versus water. It just
or Dawn dishwashing liquid, or
right.
woolite.
Right. It's not making these heads or tails because it doesn't think. It doesn't have a brain.
Remember, guys, soap is soap is soap.
Right.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't wash a couple of my clothes with a bar of soap and some dishwashing liquid.
Now,
I'm just saying.
all because what happens? A cotton shirt that is now a size 10, you stick it in water, it's going to be a size 4 by the time you get to it if you put it in water and you dry clean it, right? So you're looking at it, nature, and this is why scientifically I don't think that the world of natural hair care and cosmetology and even the medical world, they don't want to get into talking about why Afro textures are the best teacher of science when it comes to beauty culture.
Y'all see y'all getting this lesson here. Look at this. This hair is curling up even more. You see that? Right in front of you guys' eyes. And here's the part.
Matrix.
Here's the part so y'all can see that's not wet. You see it? So that was in the floating. Okay. All right. So Madam Flair says she found that porosity matters in locked hair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that one.
How so?
How so? Yeah.
Just explain to us. I'm open.
Yeah, we want to hear this one. She's going to share with us how does porosity matter in locked hair, because she said genetic memory of those Zulu roots. That's right. I keep trying to tell y'all, I am
dominance. And that is what we're talking about. Not dominance in terms of better than anybody, but dominance maintain genetic memory than the other spectral and variation of hairs once they start losing their coil.
All right, because if you put some water on this, I'm telling you, people are like, well, what about your hair over there? That's because it's cut real low.
Right.
But once it grows out,
right. It's just so low that it's not getting a chance to curl.
Right. Yeah. So that's everybody's hair is going to do that. Okay.
Everybody's hair.
but we did not get an answer. Can you type in how you're saying that you found that porosity also matters on locked hair? Now, I would
Everybody wants to know.
yeah. So let us know. In the meantime, while we're getting an answer to that, we just want to give you guys a friendly reminder that we're going to be back on Thursday. We had such a wonderful discussion with Dr. Joy Scott. She's going to come back with part 2. And it's all about, living to eat and eating to live. Okay. So eating to live is what it's going to be about part 2. And then remember, 2025 is the year of progress. And we hope that you guys definitely begin to understand what we're saying here about taking this hair thing beyond the superficial part of textures and typing. And let's go to the progress. We're going to talk about that also. So let's see. I think we got an answer that describes. Okay, so here we go. Woo, that's a good one. Okay, so low porosity that use products, it sits on top of the hair. Sweat, oils, heavy conditioner sits on top of the hair and it creates a white cast. And I guess you're saying if the lock was high porosity, then the products would be absorbed into the hair, and the sweat and the oils and the heavy conditioners that would go in. I'm a little okay. I'm a little confused there. But so let's just go with the first part of her sentence, okay?
Right. So low is akin to it doesn't absorb well. And so it will determine the viscosity of the oil or conditioner that they will use.
Oh, okay.
And she's also saying sweat. Now, and because we at the Afro Hair Science Summit have to be scientific, not product-based. Product-based information is not scientific. It's commercial. It's to get you guys to buy one oil versus one conditioner versus one thing.
That's it. Can we repeat it one more time, please?
Okay. The information of porosity is not scientific in terms for you to be more clinical in your determination how to service the client. It is only for you to determine what kind of oil conditioner to use, if it's used to not use a wax versus for you to use a shea, or for you to use a shea for you to use a liquid, or versus something that's heavy or light. But that is on the commercial aisle. That means that belongs to the commercial and secular market. That's a consumer market product conversation. It has nothing to do with what actually is going on with the hair. Because once you understand that if you have a tightly woven, tight, depending on the texture of that person's hair, if that lock is tightly woven, ain't shit getting in it. I don't give a shit what you do, okay? At the end of the day, science does not lie. The hair in and of itself tells you what to do to it at all costs. And that means that it has a set of natural law that it is governed by: air, fire, heat, wetness, solids. I get it. But we just have to learn it that way so we can stop making things up as we go and stop trying to remember things as we go. We don't have to remember science. It's true all the time, no matter what. It just doesn't, it just applies most often. You know what I mean? And it has to, and let me just say this, there's no deep conditioner for your face. There's a mask that just stays on longer and you still rinse most of the shit down there, and you just almost wasting your money. The point is that we don't do a deep skin conditioner. We don't have a deep lotion, a lotion for, we just don't talk like that when you're talking about skin. So that means that the vernacular and the lexicon that we use in cosmetology, yes, has been misleading. Does kind of,
because you got to keep in mind, if I can interject a little bit, the salon is really about an experience.
mm-hmm.
And so the language that we're using
Yeah.
is to exude, to bring about an experience. I suppose it's kind of like tickling yourself.
Yeah.
It's just not as funny. You just won't, I mean, you could, but you probably won't laugh if I tickle you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what a salon visit is to the consumer. And so when we use words like deep conditioning,
Yeah.
it's to evoke
it's for money.
A feeling. Yeah, it's an emotion. It's to get your money. Okay, we said it. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the dumbest shit. But it makes us lots and lots and lots of money. But it is not going deep. And this is why when we talk about, as we wrap this up,
deep? And what deep mean? I mean,
yeah.
Has anyone ever told you what is deep? Is it
cuticle layer deep? Is it cortex deep?
Yeah.
Is it medulla deep? Like, how deep is deep? Is it deeper than Atlantis? Because you only have 3 layers, right? So how deep can that go? Now, we just told you, if it's not a chemical, it can't do it. Right. So if you're locking hair, if you're locking the hair, porosity would just never matter. No. Because unless you chemically alter that lock, it's only going to matter during the chemical process. Once you put water on it or another conditioner that could be acidic, right. It's done. It's going to sit on top.
And acids contract and alkalins expand. And so now I know y'all bleachers and bleached locks. Well, then y'all ain't natural at that point. You definitely are not natural at that point. You are the most unnatural you could ever be, because you took the melanin out. I know. Why y'all do that? Y'all gonna take the melanin out but call yourself natural. But if I take the curl out and leave the melanin in there, and then I'm
trying to be white.
I'm trying to be white. Come on, y'all.
Look at Trish in the chat. She says, so we shouldn't use deep. You can, but just know that it's not going deep. It's just a thicker consistency. Because remember, it's a sales gimmick. And it has a different feeling than the instant one. The deeper ones are kind of like thicker. And because remember, this was never really meant to go, as Cheryl said, secular. All of this stuff was to be exclusive for people to come into the hair salons.
Now, I got a question. This is the question for 2024. Boom. What's the difference between regular vitamin supplements versus prenatal?
And that's going to be our last question. And we're going to let Cheryl get out of here because we didn't pick that brain so much. Whoo, child, y'all got the butter from the duck. Okay, ask that. She said, I know that, and still bleach my hair. Girl, listen here. I am the bleach queen. I wish somebody would
Let me tell you. Y'all better be in love with your African self and leave all that other unnatural shit, because Africa do not know what y'all talking about.
All right, but in America, go and put the bleach on it, okay? Put some heavy conditioner.
Fabulous, be black, African, and fabulous.
All right. So the question was, somebody said, what was the question again? What was the difference between?
What's the difference between a regular supplement, vitamins, whatever, versus prenatal?
Okay. We have one answer. That was nothing. That someone doesn't think it's nothing. As per show, the past have to. Okay. Right. Someone says they don't know. I think prenatal is better. I'm with you. I don't know. I cannot answer that. So don't look to me, guys. I'm learning right along with you guys. Let's see what they're saying over on Instagram. Instagram. What's up, 365 Storm? What's up, 77? Everybody else, a lot of people on Instagram. So Instagram, what is the difference between a prenatal vitamin and a regular vitamin? Facebook, what's the difference? YouTube, LinkedIn, all of the scholars on LinkedIn, be excited to join us. Answer the question if you want to. What is the difference between a regular vitamin and a prenatal vitamin? So far, the chat says the prenatal is better. Another person says, I don't think there's any difference. I have no idea. One could be more expensive, I guess, because it's from the doctor. The formulation, duh. All right, Tristan Natural, she came up. It takes a Trish ass always knows something. Trish, you just Trish know everything. Her and Esther, them the teacher's pets. You know what I'm saying? Okay, someone. Okay, so Trish says the formulation more. Okay, it's a better quality. Folic acid amount. Ooh, excuse me, Canadian. These Canadians don't be in America making us look stupid.
Canadians, they slick.
Damn, Canadians is slick. You know what's up? All right, okay. What they say over on Instagram? Okay, Instagram a little bit scared. That's okay, Instagram. That's okay. YouTube got y'all back. Okay. All right. So what is the difference? Because I'm with Madam Flair. I have no idea.
Okay, it's the same as I'm trying to make the correlation of a regular conditioner versus a deep one. And the difference is supplementation. Now, the difference between a prenatal, and I want you guys to always remember this. So, ladies, my sisters, Black women, a prenatal pill actually cannot have an intention. It has to work. Supplements, regular vitamins that you buy in GNC, they can just have an intention. They're called supplements. Prenatal pills, prenatal pills are never called supplements. So what I'm saying is, in the government, and I think Live Clean got it close, it has to contain what it says it contains. The U.S. government highly regulates because they have to have the nutrition in it. The fragrance, perfumes, cosmetic requirements does not require a deep conditioner to be better. It's bullshit. Sorry. Now, unless a company does have a pride and really wants to give you something of higher quality, which means the ingredients will make the product more expensive. But because people usually govern something that's good or bad with the sensory or feel metric system, they don't have to put it in as long as it feels good. And so only a professional, only a professional can determine if they've been trained to determine and they really understand the ingredients in something, which makes it a deeper conditioner. But most times, the medical world has to follow prenatal requirements. Supplements do not. Deep conditioners, leave-in conditioners, and regular conditioners, they are basically all the same. Unless, see that unless, and it usually, but we're not regulated. The FDA makes sure that you put the contains. The only regulation we have is labeling. And if it doesn't have, does it cause harm? And so we, as professionals, we really take pride in what we buy and what we use because we want our work. You're our canvas. You're our clients. So I will create and design and make and buy something that's specifically to do so I'm making better decisions than a regular consumer. but there is no differentiation between that. And we're just being good public servants. We're protecting the public because we believe in our industry. And so I have to give you that information. So I just wanted to just make that correlation if you guys understood that.
Are you guys getting that whole credibility, that trustworthy content? We've given you guys so many context clues, what to go up and Google and look up, and people to go and follow. We've given you books, all kinds of stuff, so that you guys can take this information, take it to the next level, and help change the narrative so that no one has to lose a son like I lost my son.
Absolutely.
It's not worth it, and it only takes a person like a Cheryl Morrow to have the heart, uh, to share with people who ordinarily would not get that type of information. I wish there was someone to have given that to my son, and I'll be honest. At the end of the day, he did. He was told, he did get it. His best friend, his partner, was able to finally get to him uh the benefit of credibility and checking the sources, right? But he was so near the end, and he was so just embarrassed and just saddened that he didn't know. He was like, forget it. I've lived my life anyway. Mom, you've been a good mom. It's your turn. And he said, I'm going to just go. And so I did not agree with him on that. But it was his life, and that's what he wanted to do. And so as we go into 2025, just know that you do have the power of choice. And it doesn't have to be, if it starts off in ignorance, it's okay. But you have the choice to do whatever you want to do with your life, with your hair, with your information. But just know that there are some people who really, really, really care. And there's so many credible things out here, whether it's hair care or your life. Like Cheryl said, make good choices that's going to benefit you, and share as much as you can, so that in 2025 we can continue to have more information, because now we're talking about the year of progress. I think in my son's memory, he would love to hear the progress of all of these different topics that we've been covering for the past 2 years. It's time for us to move the needle and share with you guys some wonderful other content makers. And thank you so much to Esther for encouraging us to do this.
Absolutely.
And everybody in the chat, Wike, Michelle Allen, Madam Flair, Tristan Natural, Sandra E, Sir Pooh, Live Work Clean. Of course, LB, we ain't shit without you. It's just bottom line.
Hey,
We're gonna keep it 100. Selena AG, Fall Q's. We had a new cousin that came through, GG2. Yes, Susan. So everybody over on Instagram, we appreciate you guys, and we really, really, really are looking forward to an exciting 2025. Come back and join us on Thursday at 9:00 p.m. as we conclude. Will it be the new year? It sure will.
It's gonna be new, baby.
As we kick off 2025 about eating to live with none other than Cheryl's aunt. This is going to be Dr. Joy Scott. She is a health and wellness nutritionist. And so she really laid us out on Thursday, so to the point that we thought it'd be best if we bring her back and help us kick our year off with a wonderful way to eat. All right. I think that's it. Cheryl, you want to close us out with the closing school of thought on trustworthy social media content, whether it's hair or your health?
I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a year, and for all the newbies, just appreciate you. This is the year and the next subsequent 2 years for us to mind our own Black-owned business and to get into the things of our culture and our soul, to tell each other the truth, even though it hurts. But I will say, we are really, me and Ladosha, and I think I can speak for you, and we take this very, very serious. But I want you guys to understand that truth has a ring to it. Resonance, it has a resonance. And sometimes when people say things, does it feel good to you? Because truth has a ring, and it should make your body and does something to your mind. And that is why we have the power of a second opinion and sometimes a third. And so I look forward to giving you the best information, and experts, they'll say, that's something to think about. I'll get back to you. And that is what you want your expert to do. And if they don't know, enlighten me. But if we have some challenges, we can figure them out together. It's just that experts just probably most likely know where to look.
That's it. And if you want a glimpse into what's going to happen in early 2025, after we kick it off with Dr. Joy Scott, we're going to bring in some cosmetology students and barber students and nail techs. What better way to talk about progress than to hear from the people who are actually in living progress in real time? We're going to talk about history makers. Cheryl always talks about those wonderful people that she worked alongside. We want to just do each week, we're going to focus on all of those names so we can know who they are. And then, of course, in March, we're talking about the international world of hair. We're going to bring in Fatu. We're going to invite some people from Canada, all different parts of the world, to hear what they have to say about hair as we talk about progress, because we're going to move the needle on this topic of this thing called hair. So we hope you guys will rock it out with us. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more coming. We got to get you that book, Madam First. I want my book. No, that was what you call it. She said she wants that book. Email me at afrohairscience@gmail.com. And baby, you are gonna get your, that was Fall Clue. Say, I want that book, okay?
Yeah.
That dog, you want to pet that dog?
They said what they wanted. Okay?
I want that book. So you're gonna get that book. We ain't gonna even waste no time with that. But in the meantime, you do know exactly what we're saying when we're signing out, right? We say it's always about a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and for sure a whole lot of hair. But check it out. Remember, if you ain't got it, don't want it, can't stand the hair, you can't grow it. You got some bald patches and all that hair, just gonna cut it all off. You know what we say? Don't worry about it, because all of that is beautiful too. And so are you. Y'all have a happy New Year. We'll be back on Thursday. Sure, you ready for the chit chat tonight?
I'm ready.
He or she said, cancel this damn show. They hate it. What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Make black hair great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now,
We're coming, get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
Well, I think it was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed her. Hey! It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What?
Pumpa me up.
About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips.